it's Marek, welcome to MDrives and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to drive this beautiful red M140, and at this point the car is far from being stock. So it will be interesting how close this car is now to a full M car. Is it as fun with its coilover setup, which I'm going to talk about more while I'm driving? Well, we'll find out in a moment.
So let's talk about the modifications the owner made to this car. The most important ones to me are the handling modes. So suspension, KW V3 coilovers, Mlite top mounts, rear underbody brace added, front strut brace, poly bushes in a subframe, 380mm big brake kit, braided lines, DS2500 pads, upgraded brake fluid. When it comes to the engine, it runs stage 1 boot mode, stage 3 mapped ZF gearbox, hot climate intake, VRSF sport cut and modified bat box. Now let's drive this thing because I'm really curious how it handles now.
That sounds meaty.
So I actually drove this car probably about a year and a half ago, and at that point it didn't have all of those modifications which it has now, which I believe makes it feel completely different. But again, I only started it, so we'll find out in a second. Oh wow, okay, so first modification, boot mode 3. So this car runs about 400 horsepower at the moment, and as you can see I'm moving in my seat a lot because now this car has KW V3 suspension, and it feels completely different to what it felt before, where it was very comfortable compared to my car. God, that thing has a lot of pops. It sounds really good, and that's obviously due to the sunroof being slightly open. Something I wish I would have in my car. God, he was having a time. God, this thing flies. I'm barely touching throttle and it moves really fast. So 400 horsepower, so obviously another 35. Oh wow, wow, it's a torque monster. In terms of handling, it feels so good now. It's on Super Sport at the front, so it does wow, it loses traction really fast. I haven't pressed throttle even 50% at this point. Wow, okay, it's definitely quicker than my car, definitely quicker. I mean, the thing I really picked up on now, I remember the steering being quite wallowy before with the adaptive suspension, and now it feels so much more dirty, so much more like my car. Wow, the only thing this car really needs, it's LSD. So at the moment it has open diff and you can feel it. It struggles, especially on these roads where there are wet patches. The car just struggles and loses traction on one of the wheels all the time. Wow, you can drive these things below 3000 RPMs and it's just accelerating like mine in really high revs. Wow. This car changed completely, and we didn't get to everything yet. So it also had Mlite top mounts, road ones I believe, not track ones. So it has additional camber, more than my car, which obviously will make a difference when you turn. And I think that's what it is. That's why it turns so well. Yeah, it does handle its weight really well. It doesn't lean anymore like it did before with the stock dampers. It just feels so much more compliant on the road, and in the same time so much more tight. I can't get over the fact that you can drive this car at 3000 RPMs and it's just lightning fast. That's not something which you would experience in my car, which likes to be at the top, which I actually like. Don't get me wrong, I do like that. It reminds me more of an NA car. This one is just a monster. This thing sounds so good. Wow. So, brakes. Yes, so now the car has big brake kits, so 380 millimeters calipers at the front, not calipers, discs at the front, with the standard calipers with some extension brackets. And yeah, the brakes feel fantastic. They also do work well with the DS2500. Wow! Honestly, the car feels brilliant. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Great. And also the car has braided lines and Miller's fluid to keep it cool and steady when on track. It pops really, really loudly. Well, so apart from that, it has VRSF Sport Cut and modded exhaust. So yeah, it's not quiet, definitely. And it's pre-OPF. So even before mods, this car sounded really nice, but now it sounds absolutely amazing for a B58, which I always thought was a bit tamed compared to N55, but yeah, this one sounds brilliant. Honestly, driving this car feels so effortless. It's automatic. Obviously, I do like manuals, but this one, it feels brilliant. Even on road like this, where you want to feel engaged, I actually don't mind it, and I think it's because of the characteristic of this engine that there's so much power at the bottom. It just suits this gearbox. Oh, I can't even get to the top of the gears because it simply has so much power. It pulls so well at the bottom and in the middle range. What can I say about the suspension? It feels very much like my B16s, although I think slightly softer and more compliant in this setting. I'm not sure what setting it is. I think it's a kind of midway setting, similar to mine, but my Bilstein they feel harder. But again, this will be just a matter of settings. Both have all the settings. Wow. It really pulls nicely, right to the top. I think this car is completely transformed. In comparison to where it was a year and a half ago when I driven it last time, it's a different car. The steering, it's different. It feels so much more direct, and that's obviously your suspension, your top mounts, more camber, feels absolutely fantastic. The power, it's definitely, I mean, it never lacked power, but definitely now it's even more powerful, and you can feel it. You can feel it's quicker than my M2, that's for sure. What else can I say? I mean, I still haven't had a chance really to brake it really hard, but I'm sure these brakes, they are identical to what I've got on my M2. They will stop this car perfectly fine. And the last thing, and I think the only thing which this car is missing from being an ultimate M140, is the diff. But I know this is in plans, so yeah, I think this car, it's absolutely fantastic, and thank you to Dom, the owner, for letting me drive this car. I really enjoyed it, and I really think this car feels now like it's almost an M car. I wouldn't say it feels Mlite anymore, like it doesn't feel wallowy anymore. Yeah, it's, I remember being in Scotland a couple of years ago when I had my M140i and jumping to my friend's M2 and then jumping back to my car, and it felt completely different. My felt completely wallowy. Now I jumped from my M2 to this one, and if you would blindfold me, I would say I'm still in an M car. It feels so good. So yeah, well done Dom, for modifying this car to this point, because it feels absolutely fantastic. I hope you enjoyed this drive. I definitely did. Please make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you shortly in the next one. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Do widzenia.